Gypsy Rose Blanchard is once again at the center of a storm, and this time, the drama is unfolding not through courtrooms or headlines, but right on national television on her own show, no less, Life After Lockup Season 2, which was expected to follow her post-prison journey with grace and growth, has taken a sharp left turn. Episode 7, in particular, has fans and critics buzzing, as it essentially shows Gypsy unintentionally outing herself as someone who still operates with a manipulative hand just like in the past. The episode's main storyline revolves around her split from her now ex-husband, Ryan Anderson. The divorce had already been making waves, but Lifetime dug deeper, showing viewers not just what happened on the surface, but what was going on behind the scenes. It all starts back in late 2023, around November to early December. During this period, Ryan's private TikTok messages to Gypsy were somehow leaked to the public. Now, these messages weren't filled with drama or attacks. They were actually quite tame, flirtatious, even. Ryan was complimenting Gypsy, saying she looked stunning as a brunette and expressing that he still found her attractive. This was a man trying to maintain a civil or perhaps even romantic tone, despite the strain in their relationship. These messages were never meant for public consumption, but they didn't stay private for long. Instead of sharing the screenshots herself, Gypsy passed them along to her friend Bree, someone she publicly referred to as her best friend. Bree was the one who ultimately posted the screenshots, letting the world into a very personal conversation. This action, of course, caused a stir online. Ryan became the target of internet gossip, criticism, and embarrassment, and all of it landed on Bree. Meanwhile, Gypsy sat back, quietly avoiding the fallout.
Who am I with? I am with my friend Bree.
Bree with the facts.
Bree with the facts. She's Bree with the facts on TikTok.
Yes. You're right. I'm the one who tells the truth about Gypsy.
That's right.
Yeah. Period. So if you want to know the truth, you could just follow me because all these other people
She's
don't
got
tell
the
truth.
facts.
We got the facts, okay?
I text Bree and let her know that we'll have lunch tomorrow.
What time she's coming?
I don't know.
Well, tell her not to stay up all night on her lives.
Bree is a friend of Christy's. They met on TikTok. Eventually, Bree and I had a phone call. I think it was like February of this year. We clicked really well. And so ever since then, we've been buddies. For me, especially, making friends is extremely hard. I'm 33 years old, but I can't go to bars and nightclubs and meet people my own age to kind of form friendships naturally. I don't always want to address rumors on social media, so Bree has the balls to just go ahead. She's very unfiltered. She also just kind of debunks rumors about me and my family.
I do. You know where to go. Bree the facts. Don't forget.
This didn't go unnoticed by the show's producers. During the episode, Gypsy was directly asked why she chose not to post the messages herself. Her response was questionable at best. She claimed that she didn't want Ryan to feel like she was deliberately trying to hurt him, so she didn't want to be the one to make the texts public. On the surface, it sounded like an attempt at empathy, but when you dig deeper, it's easy to see the contradictions. If her concern was truly about sparing his feelings, why leak the messages at all? And why give them to someone else to do it?
Gypsy Rose Blanchard, Love After Lockup, or Lockup After Love, was wild, okay? It was boring but wild, and the reason why I say it's wild is Lifetime is exposing her more and more every week. And for some reason, Gypsy and her team don't see things. And I think the irony about it is the way that Lifetime showed her friend Bree being used. They literally asked Gypsy, are you using your friend to put out this information? And she said yes. So that means everything Bree has done in the name of Gypsy, it's been because Gypsy wanted it. I don't think people realize how pertinent that is. But baby Bree is getting herself into a lot of trouble, and she doesn't even see it coming. But really, nobody give her the warning. Let's just watch this, because I'm here for the show, and I'm here to watch Bree go clink clink, because it's gonna happen.
The logic of her explanation didn't add up, and the Lifetime team wasn't about to let that slide. They pushed her for more clarity, asking her directly what her intention was behind leaking the text through Bree. Gypsy tried to stick to her story. She said she didn't want to interfere with Ryan's healing process, but also didn't want to continue the relationship. She wanted to move on, but peacefully. She claimed it wasn't meant to be a petty or vengeful move. But just as she finished that explanation, the show immediately cut to footage of a live stream from Ryan himself. And what he had to show completely dismantled the image Gypsy was trying to create. Ryan held up multiple recent messages from Gypsy texts and voice notes that were deeply emotional and full of longing. In these messages, Gypsy expressed how much she missed him and showed clear signs that she wasn't over their relationship.
I don't realize it's her at first because she must have changed her number. And then she continues to call me throughout the day. Finally, she texts my mother, and then my mother tells me what she texted. And I read one where it said, I would love to have a one-on-one with you on the day of our divorce after court. Okay, you've had all this time to meet with me. You've had all this. Why would I give her that day?
The contrast between what she was saying on the show and what she was actually sending to Ryan in private was stark. It painted a picture of someone trying to control both narratives, wanting to appear strong and independent on camera, while privately clinging to the connection. That contradiction laid the groundwork for something even more revealing, a look at how Gypsy seems to operate in general. Rather than take direct action or accountability, she often puts others in the line of fire while staying out of it herself. And Bree, her so-called best friend, seems to have been one of her biggest pawns. When you revisit Bree's behavior on social media over the last few months, things suddenly start to make a lot more sense. There were countless rants, dramatic posts, and heated responses to anyone who dared question Gypsy's motives. At the time, many thought Bree was just an overly loyal friend who maybe took things too far. But now it looks like those posts weren't entirely coming from Bree's own feelings. They may have been encouraged, or even requested by Gypsy herself. In this dynamic, Bree wasn't just a passionate supporter. She became the one doing Gypsy's dirty work. While Gypsy preserved her sweet, victim-turned-survivor public image, Bree was out there battling critics, shutting down truth-tellers, and engaging in online warfare, all on Gypsy's behalf. Whether she realized she was being used or not is unclear. But it seems obvious now that Gypsy was the one pulling the strings, while Bree acted as the sword. The most shocking example of this came when Bree targeted a content creator named Becca Scoops. Becca hadn't done anything wrong. She was simply gathering facts from public records related to Gypsy's case and putting them together to create a timeline. She wasn't spreading rumors or attacking anyone personally. Her content was straightforward, factual, and verifiable. But Bree responded in a way that crossed every line. She didn't just argue back or defend Gypsy's reputation, she took it much further. Bree reportedly tracked down Becca's real identity, along with personal information about her husband, her children, and even her workplace. Then, she doxed her, posting all of this private information publicly, exposing Becca and her family to thousands of strangers. What started as a difference in opinion escalated into a serious breach of privacy and safety. The question that now hangs in the air is, did Bree do all of this because she believed in defending Gypsy that strongly, or was she manipulated into doing so?
Last night, Gypsy Rose Blanchard's best friend Bree was on a live and she threatened me. So apparently they were upset about a video that I posted and was talking about me on this live stream, which cool, fine, whatever. But I mentioned in that video that I thought that Gypsy would reoffend. And Bree's exact words were, I hope she reoffends on you, talking about me. That is disgusting. We all know what Gypsy did to her mother, and for Bree to say that she hopes she reoffends on me is quite literally disgusting. I don't know how else to describe how that made me feel last night. And then it was also brought to my attention that she was communicating about my child on this live stream, and if she was threatening me and my life, was she also threatening my child? I have never said anything negative about Aurora other than I believe that Aurora is in danger. With a mother like Gypsy Rose, I'm sure everyone else can agree that Gypsy Rose is a danger to her own child. Outside of that, I have never spoken a bad word about a baby. It's a literal baby. But for them to not only threaten my life, but to also be communicating about my son is quite literally very offensive. Don't talk about my son. Don't bring my kids into it. If you have a problem with me, Bree, or Gypsy, or anyone on your camp, you tough it out with me. Don't get my kids involved in it. You want to talk shit? Talk shit to me. I'm a grown-up and I can handle your bullshit. My kids, however, are off limits. I do not have the receipts of her communicating about my son, but if anybody else does, please let me know. I do have the receipts showing that she threatened me personally, and will use that if I have to in order to contact the police or whatever. I don't know if these people know where I live or are they paying attention to like background surroundings, but with Gypsy's background, I can say for certain that her making those comments about Gypsy reoffending and she hopes that she reoffends on me is disturbing, and I felt like my life was in danger. I'm sure if a murderer's friend told you that they reoffended, that they hope that they reoffended with you, I'm sure that you would feel like your life was in danger.
Either way, the consequences were severe, and Gypsy remained comfortably distanced from the damage. Watching the episode with all this context in mind, everything starts to fall into place. Gypsy has always been a complex figure, first seen as a victim of her mother's abuse, then as someone involved in a tragic murder, and now as a woman trying to rebuild her life. But with every step forward, it seems like the same patterns are repeating. She doesn't get her hands dirty, but she knows how to get others to do it for her. She keeps her public persona clean, while chaos swirls around her, chaos that she may very well be controlling. Becca never once mentioned Bree by name. She wasn't attacking her character, digging into her personal life, or calling her out directly in any way. All Becca did was present publicly available facts about Gypsy, facts that had already been out there but weren't being widely discussed. She focused on Gypsy's inconsistencies, the timeline of events, and things that didn't add up. Still, Bree reacted with an intensity that seemed wildly out of proportion, going to war as if she'd been personally targeted. At the time, many thought Bree was just an overzealous friend, maybe even a little unhinged. But now it's becoming painfully clear. Bree didn't act on her own. Gypsy planted the idea. She manipulated Bree into believing she had to go to extreme, even dangerous lengths to protect her. That's where things take a much darker turn. What Bree did wasn't just messy online behavior, it was potentially criminal. In Louisiana, her actions fall under cyberstalking laws. What she did, tracking down Becca's full name, her husband's name, her children's information, and her place of work, then broadcasting that information online, crossed a serious legal line. Had Becca chosen to press charges, Bree could have faced real criminal consequences. Yet Gypsy, as usual, stayed far removed. Her name wasn't on the posts. She didn't click send on the messages. Bree was the one who did it all, the one who would have been held accountable if it ever reached a courtroom. This is the kind of friend Gypsy turns people into loyal pawns willing to destroy their own lives to defend her, while she remains clean and untouchable. The same thing happened with Nicholas Godejohn. Gypsy spent years manipulating Nick, knowing full well that he was mentally challenged and emotionally dependent on her. She played the role of victim perfectly, planting the idea that the only way out of her abuse was through violence. When Nick followed through and killed her mother, it should have been clear that he had been pushed beyond his limits. But Gypsy wasted no time throwing him under the bus. Despite having texts where Nick suggested safer, non-violent alternatives like running away or going to the police, Gypsy painted herself as someone who had no choice, someone who went along with a plan she never wanted. That narrative helped her get a plea deal, 10 years in prison. Meanwhile, Nick received a life sentence without parole, and to this day, he still defends her. He still thinks he saved her. That's how deep Gypsy's influence goes. And after Gypsy's release from prison, the same manipulative cycle started again, this time with Ryan. Their relationship moved at lightning speed. From the outside, it looked like a romantic fresh start. But underneath the surface, Ryan was never truly loved. He was part of a plan, a way to present herself as stable, responsible, and deserving of a second chance. He provided a safe place for parole, a solid image for the public, and the illusion of a normal life. But emotionally, Gypsy was already checked out. While Ryan was publicly celebrating their love, she was secretly reconnecting with her ex-fiancé Ken, the man she had been involved with while still behind bars. Ryan thought he was building a life. Gypsy, on the other hand, was already planning her exit. When she finally left, she made sure to control the story. She painted Ryan as emotionally abusive and controlling, making it seem like she had been trapped all over again. The public rallied behind her, just like before. But then details began to leak. Her story began to crack. Timelines didn't match, and the things she accused Ryan of began to look exaggerated, twisted, or flat-out false. Eventually, she admitted it, she never really loved Ryan. She wasn't attracted to him. Her heart, she claimed, always belonged to Ken. But the most painful part is that Ryan still refuses to accept the truth. He and his family cling to the belief that Gypsy was just misled by others, that deep down, she's a good person who simply made some bad choices. Now the same destructive pattern is beginning again, only this time. It involves a child. Gypsy and Ken are now parents, and what started as a rekindled romance quickly became a permanent bond. Ken, who once shunned the spotlight, has now found himself right in the middle of online drama. A man who used to prefer privacy is suddenly arguing with content creators, defending Gypsy in comments, and being pulled into internet chaos. That change didn't come out of nowhere. It has Gypsy's fingerprints all over it. What's even more concerning is how Gypsy has started to shape a new narrative. Her social media is filled with subtle but consistent messaging posts about her doing everything on her own, attending doctor appointments without help, dealing with sleepless nights and parenting stress solo. To some, it just looks like a tired new mom venting. But in reality, she's crafting a storyline. If things go sour with Ken in the future, she'll already have laid the groundwork to present herself as the sole, dedicated parent and Ken as the absent one. That image could become powerful in any future custody battle. She's not just expressing emotions, she's building evidence. This isn't just coincidence, this is calculated. Gypsy is playing the long game, just like she always has. Her moves are deliberate, designed for maximum impact with minimal effort, and if Ken doesn't wake up soon, he may lose more than just his public image. He could lose his daughter, all while being completely unaware of how deeply he's already entangled in her web. That's the truly disturbing part, not just what Gypsy does, but how seamlessly she does it. Her manipulation doesn't come with obvious strings. It's subtle, quiet, and buried so deep that the people she uses often don't even realize what's happening until it's far too late. Nick is a perfect example. He's serving a life sentence for a crime she set in motion, and still, he speaks about her like she's some kind of savior. He believes he rescued her, not grasping that she orchestrated everything and left him holding the consequences. Ryan is no different. Even after Gypsy twisted the narrative and painted him as a controlling villain to the public, he continues to defend her. He clings to the belief that she was misled by the people around her, refusing to consider that she may have been running her own agenda from day one. Bree has faced backlash, mockery, and serious legal risk, all because she believed she was protecting a friend. But Gypsy never saw her as anything more than a shield, someone to absorb the blowback while she stayed in the shadows. And then there's Ken. Right now, he's still in the thick of it, completely blind to the fact that Gypsy is already setting him up. Slowly but surely, she's crafting an image of herself as the struggling single mom, the one doing it all on her own while her partner fades into the background. Every post about sleepless nights, every mention of being alone at doctor's appointments, it's all calculated. It's the build-up to a moment when she might turn the story around again, casting Ken as the neglectful father when it benefits her most. Even now, she's using their baby as part of her public persona. She talks about online trolls allegedly wishing harm on the child, not just to gain sympathy, but to protect herself from criticism. It's a shield, one she uses whenever the pressure gets too high or questions start circling. And she's good at it, so good, in fact, that even after she discards people, they remain under her spell. They don't walk away angry. They walk away confused, still loyal, still hoping for her approval. That's the true horror of Gypsy's manipulation. She doesn't just ruin lives, she makes sure her victims stay emotionally tied to her long after she's done with them. Now that she's openly admitted to using people, the question is, will everyone finally snap out of it? Will they stop letting her spin the story? Or will they stay trapped, just another chapter in Gypsy's never-ending cycle of control? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you're keeping up, and don't forget to subscribe. There's definitely more chaos on the horizon. See you in the next one.